Good morning, good afternoon. This is Konstantin and SixArticles to read. I'd like to talk to you about artificial intelligence and human morale. Here's my new set of thought provoking stories in the space of what we call ethical AI. First of all, I'd like to draw your attention to Daniel Kahneman and his speech at one of the conferences recently. Mr. Kahneman is a Nobel Prize winner. He's one of the top minds in behavioral economics and psychology, and it's definitely worthwhile listening to what he says. And he believes that with sufficient data, there will be nothing left what humans can do and computers cannot. Which means that computers can also outpace us in the emotions. They can read emotions, they can produce emotions, and according to Mr. Kahneman, uh, he believes that computers can actually be better at that, potentially. Not now, but in the future. So I highly recommend you to take 10 minutes and listen to his video and read some of his articles and books, quite honestly, because it's just partially mind-blowing and thought-provoking. The next concern is about gender bias. And as you know, in technology space, for instance, there is a certain inequality between women and men when it comes to hiring. The problem is that AI and algorithms can actually reinforce that inequality. The simple example is LinkedIn algorithm was showing higher paid jobs to men and lower paid jobs to women. And that's just because of the way the data set was designed and the way it was, fed to the algorithm. And so it's not a problem of the algorithm itself, but it's the problem of data. This is, the world we live in is probably not perfect, and we're all trying to make it better. The big question is that algorithms and AI is actually learning from the data that exists right now in the world. So the big question is that how do you make that data better? And how do you make AI more ethical in that sense? And the next piece is kind of about the same situation, just a broader context. You know that AI is being applied in criminal justice. So one of the tools actually allows you to identify whether a specific individual can become a member of a gang or is a member of a gang. The problem is that if you label an individual that way, what do you do then if for some reason your algorithm made a mistake? So it is a lot involved from kind of criminal justice standpoint, and not just a pure technical standpoint. Things like that are very sensitive, and you have to think about that. The existing former Secretary of Treasury in the United States actually had to prove to one of her employers that she was not in jail just because the algorithm was designed in a certain way and it was reading her name, and if the name was corresponding to kind of a database of names with criminals and sounded similar, the algorithm was suspecting her of being potentially a criminal, which is total nonsense. But it happens, and it's real, and it's now being applied in hiring. So you have to watch, and you probably have to apply stress testing to that situation. The next story is something you probably know about, and you guys are all aware about the situation with Uber, and then the very, very sad story that the self-driving car was involved in an accident, and police said that most probably it's not Uber's self-driving car fault. There will be hard, according to the police chief, it is hard to imagine that this accident could be avoided in any kind of mode. But still, it leaves us with that notion, with that question in the back of our mind: are we ready to live in the world like that? And what is it that we should do? What is it that should we do anything at all? It's just kind of thought-provoking in my opinion. And the last piece, what I like to leave you with, is a little bit funny and at the same time, very miraculous in my opinion. It is about uploading your brain, uploading your mind. There are a number of startups, a number of foundations that are working on so to say curing death by uploading your mind into the computer. And just before you think about that and hope that we all going to be immortal within some time, I'd like to share with you that unfortunately, this is very, very unlikely in the future. According to neuroscientists from Harvard, we couldn't even reproduce 7,000 neurons from worms, and we are not even talking about humans. Besides, one of the startup companies suggested that to preserve the brain, you actually have to kill it before. So I'm not sure that I'm ready for that. But it's interesting, it's actually mind blowing to learn how many people out there are working on the problem and already now considering this to be the future. So with that, I'd like to wish you that you always apply your brain, and despite all the AI advancements, use your mind very often, especially when it comes to news like that. I'm looking forward to reconnecting, and next time I'm going to talk about some of my most favorite TED Talks in the space of artificial intelligence and machines. It was great to connect. Bye.